Harrison Cole's legs had gone numb an hour ago. He flexed his toes and shifted his position on the icy rock ledge. A fresh gust of biting wind made his eyes tear up. His thick socks, long underwear, and other cold weather gear had long since lost the battle against the bitter cold of the Central Asian winter night. Overhead, diamond stars studded the night sky, and the Milky Way billowed across the blackness like silvery dust. The crescent of a waning moon shone scant light on the narrow valley 300 meters below. Harrison and his two companions had been in this rocky niche for over 3 hours, watching the work of the men in the valley. He raised the night vision binoculars, studying their target for the 100th time. The railroad bridge spanned a half-kilometer-wide gorge some 100 meters deep. The floor of the valley was thick with scrub brush and boulders, perfect cover for the approach of the resistance fighters. This section of the Chinese-built railroad, part of Beijing's Belt and Road Initiative, ran across the narrow plains west of Dushanbe, Tajikistan, before it punched across the border into Uzbekistan. From there, the railroad snaked north on its way to Karshi, Uzbekistan, around snow-covered peaks, through tunnels, and across bridges like this one. But this bridge was special. According to the Joint Warfare Analysis Center, this was the most vulnerable point in the entire section of rail line between Dushanbe and Karshi. Harrison had read the entire report, and the JWAC analysis was mind-numbingly thorough. The document included the type of trestle bridge, the distance from the nearest repair depot, availability of the steel required for the new supports, even a soil analysis that indicated the Chinese engineers would be forced to re-pour at least half of the footings if the demolition plan was executed correctly. It concluded if this bridge were destroyed, it would take the Chinese over 3 months to rebuild it, possibly much longer. They were buying time, Harrison knew. Time, he hoped, for a new administration in Washington to take over and start to actually support the resistance fighters in Central Asia. As CIA liaison officer, Harrison saw how much these fighters needed and deserved U.S. support. The Chinese referred to the resistance as the Seljuk Islamic Front, a terrorist group, but that label was just another aspect of the massive Chinese disinformation campaign across the region. On this winter night, however, Beijing's propaganda was the last thing on Harrison's mind. With shaking hands, he raised the glasses again and studied the pair of tents erected next to the tracks. The Chinese were not fools. They knew how critical this rail line was to their supply lines in the region. Smoking metal chimneys poked out of the canvas roofs, one of which served as a bunkhouse, and the other a combination mess tent and command post. He'd watched this PLA encampment so much in the last 2 weeks that he knew every aspect of the soldiers' routines. 6 PLA soldiers did a 3-day rotation at the site before they were taken back to the forward operating base in Dushanbe, and a relief security team was flown in. Harrison shook his head. This was the worst kind of duty. Stuck in the middle of nowhere, freezing your balls off, staring at a big steel bridge for 2-hour rotations. The soldiers patrolled in pairs. They hunched in their jackets, stamped their booted feet against the cold, and did their time until they could get back into the warm tent.